Hi, my name is Christine. I am Sharon's sister. Welcome to my kitchen. We're just going to do a little cooking chat this morning. Sharon asked me if I would share one of my favorite recipes with you, and this is a recipe for 6 dozen spice cookies. These are lovely cookies that freeze well and eat well. So we're going to get started. I do want to have a little chat with your children in a few minutes, but we're going to get these cookies made, get the dough made, get them in the oven, and then we're going to have a little chat with your kids as well. So if you would like to just round them up, they can watch along with us, okay? Oh, and by the way, just so you know, my accent is a little bit off because I don't live in Northern Ireland. I live in Canada. So please forgive the Canadianisms and the lilt, okay? I will try and intersperse it with my native tongue as I remember. So we are starting off with our dry ingredients. So I think you have the recipe. Hopefully you have that in front of you. If you want to follow along, you're quite welcome to bake along with me today. So in here I have my dry ingredients. I have my flour already, and I have my baking soda. And actually I forgot to put the salt in, so I'm just going to do that right now. And I did measure out the flour in metric because I see you guys are all metric over there. So it was for 4 cups of flour, it's 650 grams of flour, and that would be regular flour with no raising agent in it. Okay, so we add a little bit of the soda and that gives us our raising agent. Okay, so I have that in there, and then I have my spices already prepared because just to save a little bit of time. So in here I have my cinnamon, my nutmeg, and my ginger. Okay, so we're going to pop that in there, and then we want all of those ingredients to kiss. We want them to meet each other, and we want them to kiss. So we're just going to swirl it around to get those spices all nicely mixed in there. You can see that lovely aroma coming from that already. So we'll just set that to the side, and I'm just going to grab my butter because I did over soften it a little bit in the microwave, so I popped it in the fridge. Be right back. I don't know what kind of mixer you have. This one I've had for a long time. It's a Bosch. It's wonderful. I've never had anything go amiss with that mixer. So whatever kind of stand mixer you have is good to go. If you do have this recipe, like say you think, well 6 dozen cookies is just way too much. Maybe you don't have much room in your freezer or whatever, then you can easily have this recipe. In fact, the original form of this recipe is half of it. I am doubling it for today just so that we can show you the various ways that we can deal with that. So we're just going to pop our butter, and that's a cup of butter, and that's going in to our Bosch there. And then we're going to add in our sugar. I would say about the sugar, one of the first things you need to do once you have got your oven on to 350, put about a half a cup of granulated sugar into a pie plate like this. We're going to use that later. I will show you in a little bit what we're going to do with that. Okay, so we are doing 2 cups of sugar, which again sounds like an awful lot, but when you divide that between 72 cookies, it's probably not too bad. So we have our sugar, we have our butter, and now we need 2 eggs. So we're just going to crack those in there as well. I should maybe move this, I just dropped that shell in there. Move this over a little bit so you can actually see what I'm doing there. And now we need our vanilla, which I pre-measured as well. And that's just 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And then we're going to measure our molasses. So this may be a little different for you. This is how we get our molasses, which I think is another word just for treacle. So if you can find molasses like this, well and good. I think treacle is probably the next best thing. So we're putting a half cup in here. Let's swirl that around. And of course, as you know, being in Canada, we, just like the Americans, we use cups for our measurements, which in a way, to be honest, is a little bit easier because you don't need your scales so much. In fact, I very, very rarely use scales. So I'm going to put my machine on. So we'll try and talk over the top. So we've got our butter. Make sure we've got all our ingredients in. Our butter, our sugar, our eggs, our vanilla, and our molasses. We're going to beat that up until it's well blended. My machine, it doesn't take very long at all. Okay. That's pretty much blended. Okay. I'm just going to tidy up here a little bit. So I'm going to start to add in my flour. All those wonderful spices. These cookies are a little bit like a ginger snap, only they're darker. It would be the equivalent of what you have over there in a ginger snap. Molasses giving in that lovely, rich color. Turn off our dishes here. Alright, so this is already pretty well mixed. Almost there. You can feel here rather the machine starting just to labor a little bit here, so it's getting everything mixed in. So just give that another minute or so. So this is a great recipe to make right away, eat right away. It's also a great recipe to store in your fridge. You can store it for up to 2 weeks in your fridge, or once we have it rolled out, you can wrap that saran wrap and you can store it in your freezer for up to 2 months. So if you ever feel like fresh cookies, because honestly, there's nothing to beat the smell of freshly baked cookies. So you might want to just wrap this, make a dozen for now, and then wrap the rest. Keep a couple in the fridge, keep the rest in the freezer, and then just take them out whenever you need a treat. And let's face it, who doesn't need a treat? Mind you, if you're anything like me, you've been treating out these days. So I'm just going to have to scrape that a little bit because I see there's a few little bits here that haven't got incorporated. So we're just going to do that. Okay. All right. That's going to give that a really good whirl. All right. And we're good. And there's your dough. There's your dough ready to go. So we're gonna take this. Excuse some dough. Sharon will be smiling right now. No doubt. What? This mixture, I'm just looking at the recipe and thinking to myself, it's not quite right. It's too crumbly. And I realized that I didn't put in the right amount of butter. So we're going to put in another half cup of butter because the recipe said 1.5 cups. And what did I put in? Only a half cup. So sorry about that, ladies. I'm actually working off the triple recipe here, or rather the single recipe. And I sometimes often triple this recipe, and today we're doubling it. So my math was never my forte. So we're just going to let that whir again, and we'll just be thankful that we caught that now before we tried to roll these, because obviously that would make for an extremely dry dough. I don't even know if we could have got that bind together. So, oh, that's much better. Just give that another minute or two. So if you haven't got your kids with you, this would be a good chance right now to go grab your kitty wings, because we're going to get these ready for the oven. All right, there we go. So that really didn't take long at all. Sure it didn't, to get these this dough ready and get these ready for the oven. So what I really like about cookie recipes is they really don't take long. So we're just going to get this all out of our baking bowl onto the counter, and we'll move that out of the way. So I don't know if you can, hopefully you can see that. Look at that. Beautiful. And it's a little bit sticky, but it's not, my hands are not getting covered. So this is perfect. This is perfect. All right, so we are going to divide this into about 6 equal portions. I'll just get my big knife. Okay, and this is an approximate. Okay, so I have roughly 6 equal portions here, okay, of about this size. Okay, so we are going to get our first batch into the oven here. So we're going to take each portion. I hope you can see there, okay? I think you can. And we're going to roll. I see a little butter there that's not quite incorporated, so we're just going to roll this one a little bit more. And if your hands do get a little bit sticky, just pop them into that sugar bowl or tray, whatever we want to call it, because we're going to roll these in that sugar anyway. So they get sugar on top at this stage is perfectly fine. Okay, so that's our little bowl. So we are going to cut these into hopefully we'll get 12. We'll see how it goes. I like to cut half, then half again, and then do my in-betweens. Okay, everybody has their own system, and that's mine. So now we have a piece that's about the size of a golf ball. And we're going to roll that, pop it in our little tray. And if you find that, oh, that looks a little bit small, we can rob from Peter to pay Paul. Okay, I'll just pop that in there. And I'll roll those around. We really want to get these in the oven as quick as possible because I don't want to keep your kids waiting. But just rolling. And look, that one looks a little bit big. So if we need to add a little bit to another one, we can just easily do that. So we are just trucking along here. Honestly, ladies, you want to take a morning and bake a whack of cookies. If there's something going on and they need some cookies, some volunteers, cookies. My church did that. They asked for cookies there last week actually, and they visited around a bunch of families that were struggling a bit. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We have 12. Perfect. So we're just going to roll those around. You see what I'm doing there? Just roll these around in the sugar. Okay. And we're getting them thoroughly coated. I see a little bit of butter peeking out on here. I'm just going to give that another little bit of a roll because I want to make sure that that is incorporated, because that butter oozes out then. It's going to be a messy tray. Okay, so I do apologize for that slip up, but you know what? Wouldn't be the first time I've missed an ingredient and then wondered, why do my scones taste like hockey pucks? Huh, I forgot to put the butter in. Well, that'll do it. Okay, so you're all watching me and you're probably thinking, she looks nothing like her sister. Maybe you were expecting blonde. Well, sorry to disappoint, but I'm the brunette and Sharon's the blonde. She's the legend. I just follow her around. Okay, so here is my baking sheet, and I have my wax paper on here, or grease paper as you call it over there. And I just use these. It just saves a lot of cleanup actually. And as you can see, it's a little bit wrinkly, a little bit like myself. That's okay, still useful, still useful. Never let a few wrinkles discourage you, okay? And so we're just gonna pop those on there. You'll see I have spaced those out because they are gonna spread and we don't really want them touching, okay? Each one is unique. Each one is made with love and unique. And so we're just gonna pop those in the oven now. And we're gonna set our timer for 12 minutes because that is the exact time that I have figured those out that they need. Okay, so now we're going to roll up a few of these lovely logs here. Spice logs, let's call them spice logs, okay? And then we're going to, I think we're going to put 2 in the freezer today. And then we're going to just put the rest of the dough in a container. It's going to pop it in our fridge. We're going to pop it in there. And that'll be for another time, okay? So I leave one out because 12 cookies is not going to go very far in my house, let me tell you. So what are we doing here? Okay, we're going to make another one. All right, let's do that. Okay, so we're going to roll that one, and then these two are just going to go into a little container. In the fridge. Okay, just snap that in. And there's my cookies for next week, and here's my cookies for the week after, a couple of weeks later. I do hope Mr. Johnson came through today and lifted some of the restrictions. I'll be checking the news later, the BBC News, to find out what happened there. So hopefully we can all come out of lockdown. We are entering phase 1 of our entry out of lockdown. This Friday. No, I tell a lie, next Friday. So we will be able to go to parks next week. And so you need a cookie for the kids, something in your little backpack there for the kids. These are great cookies, okay? So we are not going to roll these in sugar or anything like that. We're just going to keep them in their state as they are. So can you see me there? I hope you can see okay what I'm doing. So we're wrapping this up in the saran wrap, and we're tucking. Actually, it's a good thing to twist that before you tuck that under, okay? All right, so that's one log. Look at my big box of saran wrap. Everything is bigger out here. I have to say that. It is true. The rumors are true. The rumors are true. All right, so we're just rolling. I'm gonna have to close that window. That dog doesn't shut her trap. Okay. Oh, one more. Do one more. All right. Look at that. You know what, girls? I honestly think we're going to get our kitchen cleaned up, our little chat with our kitties before these cookies are. So there we go. There they are. And so if you have a freezer bag, Ziploc freezer bag, you can easily go into that. Or if you want to put them in a container so they don't get washed about in the freezer, depending on the type of freezer you have. If you have a freezer with multiple shelves, then they could just sit in there. And if you feel like dating them, go ahead and date them so that you don't forget how many weeks old they are. But they will keep for up to 2 months, so very good. Okay, so we are going to just set these to the side, and we're going to tidy up a little bit here if you don't mind. I'll just get rid of some of our ingredients. Hello, you thought I had gone. And we're just going to chat with the kids here for a moment, if that's okay. So hope everybody's doing okay. And actually, while you're getting the kids, I'm going to quickly wash my hands, okay? All right, and I think we're going to also wipe down our counter because I am such a messy cook. I helped out one time at a camp in the little town. We just live about 5 minutes, 10 minutes out of Calgary in a little town called Chestermere, and we have a Christian camp here in the town, and it's over near, there's a lake here in the town. It reminds me a little bit of Craigavon Lakes, actually, living right here. And So anyway, they needed a volunteer to help in the kitchen last summer. So I did that last summer for a week, and it was so much fun. You know what was so great about working in that kitchen? They had a cleanup crew. They came in and they did all the cleanup. It was awesome. It's like, man, I could live like this. If I could have a cleanup crew coming behind me, I could bake and cook to my heart's content. All right, so hopefully the kids are there. I wanted to say hello to you this morning, and I'm sure you're all missing little ones, missing the opportunity to go out on Thursdays to meet with moms and meet with other kids and play. But you know what? This is going to pass, and soon our lives will be back to normal, and this will just be a memory. So we all just hang in there, and don't forget to be kind to each other. You know what? I was listening in to Heather last week. Were you listening to Heather last week? Did you hear Heather talking in her garden? Did you hear what I heard? I mean, I heard Heather's words, and they were lovely and they were very comforting, and it was really nice to see Heather and to hear from her. Did you hear the birds? Oh my gosh, I heard the birds. And I thought, isn't that just the most beautiful sound in the world? There's nothing that says spring like this singing of the birds, isn't that right? And so I was sitting out on my porch after that, thinking about all the birds. And we have lots of birds around our house too, because we have lots of big trees. And maybe for next week I'll do a little recording, because we have some birds that have really unique calls. So if you're out and about and you hear a bird, maybe see if you can see where that sound is coming from. Take a look at that bird and see if you can find out what that bird is, what kind of bird it is. Is it a sparrow? Is it a magpie? You guys have lots nicer birds than we do. But one of the really nice birds we have here is a red-winged blackbird, and it has a very unique sound. So I'm going to record it when I go for my walk, and if I hear one, I'm going to record it and let you hear that next week, okay? So maybe next week you can let Heather or Sharon know what birds you have heard singing, okay? So out on our porch, we have had, sorry, I'm touching my face. My goodness, you'd think after all these weeks of lockdown, I'd figure that out. Don't touch your face, okay? Don't touch your face. We have a bird's nest. Do you want to see it? Actually, this is really something. We have 2 bird's nests. Look at that. I'm going to come down just a little bit here. So we have this. Let's just make it look really weird. This is the way this is supposed to be, but it fell over on top of this hanging hook that I have on the porch, and it ended up like this. And oh, what's this? Swallows came one year and they built a nest in here. So they, you know what? They build nests out of all kinds of stuff. Look, twigs, little twigs, branches, a feather from some other bird. And that summer, I watched them. So they built their little nest in here, their cozy little home in here, to prepare for what? What were they preparing for? Oh, that's right, babies. They were going to lay their eggs in here, and they were going to have their babies. So I took a picture. Do you know what kind of birds those are? Those are swallows. And they like to build inside compartment, like a little condo. That's what they like, a little apartment, a little flat, maybe, that'd be better, wouldn't it? A little flat. And in this picture you can see Mr. and Mrs. Swallow, and they've got twigs, and it's like they're having a little conversation. It's like they're chatting about, well, okay, why don't you go next? You go and get some stuff for the nest, and then I'll go when you come back. And honestly, that is the way they build their nest. It is a partnership between them, and they just back and forth all day long. And the same is true when the babies come. Once they hatch out of the eggs, it's the same deal. They're back and forth. They're making this little home for their babies. And they do, everything is for their babies. Everything is centered around caring for their babies. Now this happened after the swallows left, because the swallows only came for 1 year and built this nest, and then we never saw them again. So I'm really glad that I got that picture, because they never came back. And so the next year, the robins built this nest, and then they never came back. And then, ever since, the sparrows have taken over. But you know what? They haven't come near this nest this year, so I don't know what's going to happen there. But look at it. Can you see inside it? Can you see how intricate that is? Look at the way they made that. And they just take the same care of their little home as the swallows were doing for theirs. They're preparing too, preparing this nest for their little ones, a safe place for them to be. And you know, I just thought about especially those swallows, because I did sit out there a lot and watch them. I thought, you know, that's just like your mommy and daddy and the people that you have in your life that love you and care for you. They take care of your home for you. They make sure you have a home, and they take care of the home, and they take care of you. It's amazing to watch birds look after their young. If you have a chance to be anywhere near a nest whenever they're looking after their young especially, you take that chance, okay, because it's really an amazing thing to watch, okay? And I don't know, I hope the sparrows come back this year. I hope somebody comes back and makes their home in here, because, you know, it's all ready to go, isn't it? And they just probably need a few more little bits on the bottom there just to make it a little bit cozier. And it also reminded me of something that God said. He said that there's not even when a sparrow falls to the ground, that God doesn't know about it. He cares even about the sparrows. So do you think he might care about you? Oh, he does. He cares so much about you. And he knows all about this COVID and Corona. He knows everything that's going on. He knows that you can't get outside to play at the park. He knows that you can't come to little ones. He cares. He cares so much about you. Oh, and there's our beeper. Look at that. I have talked your legs off. Okay. Let's just grab. Oh, look at these babies. Would you look at those babies? You see those? Look how they spread out, and look at the lovely crinkle top that they get. Isn't that awesome? I'm just going to set those here and get my wire rack. You need to leave these on the pan just for a couple of minutes, because they're still fairly soft. They actually, what's the word? I don't want to say harden, because it makes them sound like, you know, hockey pucks, but they're not. They're still soft-ish in the middle. They're not a super soft cookie, but they are a lovely bite through cookie. They're good dunkers too, if you want to have a cup of tea. Now, I'm just going to grab my wire rack here, and we'll put that right there, and I'm going to get my spatula. And what you can do, because I have no patience, so what you can do is lift them up very carefully and gingerly, no pun intended, and just pop them onto the wire rack, because you're probably going to need your baking tray. And then we'll just slide there we go. There we go. Aren't those beautiful? I hope you enjoy making these. I would love to get some feedback from you. So if you WhatsApp Sharon, and if you have any questions, if something doesn't turn out quite right the way you thought it would, just WhatsApp Sharon and I will answer any questions you have. And I really hope to see you all again soon. But you know what? We have one more thing to do. I'm going to make it super quick, because I know you've all got to get on with your day. So as I was thinking about these little bird's nests, I thought, you know what? We can make bird's nests. So in this little bowl here, this little measuring jug bowl that I use on a daily basis, I love this thing. So I have melted 100 grams of chocolate chips. So any kind of milk chocolate bar that you have in the house. I know you have chocolate in the house. And so about 100 grams of milk chocolate chips or a chocolate bar, and 2 cups of Rice Krispies, or you can use cornflakes. And we're just gonna pop this in. So okay, I want the kids to see, because this is something, you know, that even a little kid could do. So we're gonna pop that in there, and we're just gonna make a little depression, okay? And I have a bag here of Cadbury's mini eggs, which I'm trying not to throw everywhere. And so we're just gonna pop, look, one. Oh, these are robin's eggs. Did you know robin's eggs are blue? Look, see? Look at that. Look at that lovely wee nest, okay? So I'm just gonna work away here at this, but that's a really quick and easy little treat that your young'uns can help you with, and oh, so much fun. And don't you just love spring? I'm just so thankful that spring has come, and we can mix up the colors. Look, there's a couple of green and a yellow. I'll tell you what, I'll just make one more, just one more, and then I'm gonna go and let you guys get on with your day. Because I know, even though it may appear to other people that you have nothing to do, but be home all day, you have lots to do. We're all busy moms during this time. Oh, here's pink. There's a pink. Let's do a green one. Hey, let's do another pink. Okay? All right.